Hi everybody, Stuart here. This is part 2, so hopefully you've seen part 1 because otherwise you might get a bit lost at this point. So do make sure you take a look at what part 1, how to organise a masterclass, but welcome to part 2. In the previous videos I was talking about the big problem with open courses, and fundamentally there's a model there which is normally cost prohibitive, and I broke that down in transparency and really just value for money. And now I'm going to tell you how you do it. So, and it's really easy, but I just want to kind of put this in your direction. As I said last time, I've got a 2-page flyer on this, so I've got this all written down. So if you want that, just email me, I'll happily send it across. You can work with me to run masterclasses, or approach other providers and say, can we organise a masterclass in this manner rather than attending open courses where the costs are normally way too high. So it's an 8-step process. It's pretty straightforward, as I said. First of all, whoever you is, whether it's you watching now or someone else, would need to think about contacting your network and saying, listen, I've seen the stuff that Stuart puts together or another provider. Would you be interested, in principle, if I organise a day in 3 months' time, which was around authentic leadership or narrative coaching or whatever it is that the topic is, would you be interested? So just go out there and test your network. Okay, that's job 1. Job number 2 is contact me. Think about dates, so we'll just pencil a date in because that's going to be important, of course. I would then, at that point, tell you about costs. I'd then also know, therefore, in costs about how far I'd have to travel, overnight stays if required, that kind of stuff. And we'd also talk about what topic would be a right fit, the right need for the potential participants. So, this is really easy stuff. This is phone calls and emails. This happens in seconds, really quick. Number 3, in inverted commas, book venue. This is where you go back to your network or just people you know and think about organising a venue for ideally free, because that's where one of the costs gets completely cut out. How many of you and how many of these participants have access to either community centres, scout halls, sports halls, whatever it might be, and we're not precious about where we present. We don't need it all singing and dancing. And of course, many of you have got a place of work. I organised an event when I was working in retail in Selfridges. We put it on for free of charge. It was through my university. And of course, many of the people went out and bought a few things at the lunch hour. So, it all comes back, or they'll support the charity, or whatever it is, So venue is really easy. Book that venue in principle based on the dates on the top. Then you can start to estimate costs, because once you've got an idea from your network, who can attend, who's interested, etc., you can work out the costs. So indicative costs, you just work back from your number. So if you have 10 people, it'd be 150, which is, on the pricey side, but quite an intimate group. 20 people around the £75 mark, 30 people around the £50 mark. It depends what your numbers are there. But obviously, it's really important at this point to describe to your network what's happening. Number 5, you go back to the network and say, I've spoken to Stuart, we've got venues, we've got dates, blah, blah, blah. And just at that point, you're going to give them the latest cost. Okay? That's it. You get people to commit and pay. That's the good part. So you'll know from what that is. They pay their money to you, essentially. That's great. All done. Number 7, once you've got that, you just confirm the date with me, because obviously you want to do that when you've got payment in and not before. And we can do the invoicing and stuff like that. So that's really, really simple. Finally, number 8, you confirm with the venue. This happens, the same day. This is all really quick. Confirm with the venue, and your job done. Okay. Couple of things I would add. Again, you can look at the flyer for more details. Things like the learning group that I was involved in, that I mentioned in the first video who organised this. One out of 7 people did it. It wasn't a big cost to it. It wasn't, in terms of time, it wasn't a big deal. She was great for her network, so in terms of network and things like that. And then what we said was our costs worked out at £70 a head. And we said just have a free place. You've obviously put a bit of work into this, so let's not like that. You can have a free place at the event. That's fair enough. Of course, the other model is to share the admin. So someone takes accountability for liaising with me, someone takes accountability for the venue, the network, so you can spread it amongst a couple of you. And really, it doesn't make a lot of difference in terms of time. I would say, for people who organise these events, you always remember who they are. I remember clearly the lady who organised our event, and that's something she's done for the good of the group. So in terms of an investment of time and emotion, I completely get that. And if she called me up and said, "Can you help me out?" I'd say, "Yeah, of course. You helped us out a year ago to organise the event, so that's great." One sticking point is if someone can't attend, having paid their money, you don't want to get into the world of refunds. That's just messy. What you'd say at the start is if you can't attend, you still have your money still sits in the right place. Of course, they can go off and get a replacement, and they can work out the money amongst themselves. Or worst case, you can go back to the network and say, listen, 2 people have dropped out, 2 spaces. Would you like to attend? Either they come in, under their own steam, or in some way they reimburse the person who paid originally. So my experience is when people pay, they attend. Apart from sickness and stuff like that, which is rare, they will attend. Those would be the main ones. I would say the other thing, again, email me for full details, but just come back to this final part, and this is straight from the numbers that I've worked out. One of the programs we looked at was £499 for me to attend, and that was just too much for what it was. It just wasn't value for money, particularly because I know I'm paying for things like venue and materials that I don't really want. I got a great big glossy folder the other day, and I'm paperless, and I was like, I paid for that. I didn't ask for it. I've just got it as part of the package, and it's probably cost, £20-30 printing wise, and never mind the cost on top. So that's the kind of model we have to disrupt. We have to break that and move forward. Contact me if you want. I run loads of masterclasses, obviously. Contact me if you want help in terms of approaching another provider and doing it. But ultimately, let's see if we can change things up a little bit.